Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Blockchain Z Days. Today, the last day of the conference, and I'm very excited to announce a new speaker, Alexandra Pitkevich, also known as Sasha. Sasha is a leading blockchain expert with a global footprint working for EPAM in Netherlands. Sasha has managed an impressive array of complex IT solutions from architecture to delivery in demanding fields of global telecom, airlines, and oil and gas multinationals. Enjoy the session beyond blockchain POC. Kindly remind you to use chat for discussions and Q&A to post your questions. Sasha, that's your turn.
Dmitry, thank you for the nice introduction. Today, I'm going to speak about blockchain adoption success and try to identify the necessary elements of blockchain projects to achieve that. It's the topic which lately takes a portion of my mind. You know, it's always the reflection of the market situation. Like when I started to do blockchain in 2015, I spent a lot of time on educational topics. And after that, there was like the weirdest time on my mind where I was frequently called by like C-level people who were asking me to invent the blockchain solution from scratch. Like, you know, that's famous, we need a blockchain for the sake of blockchain. And that was a tough time because I was always shocked saying like, okay, for decades, the business was coming to IT with the questions, with the problems. And IT was solving the problems of the business. And when the business is coming to IT saying, we need this particular shiny piece, please find us how we can have that. It's like, okay, tell me the problem. And then the market moved again. And we spent tens of hours in design thinking sessions discussing and evaluating the use cases. Everybody started to speak about the use cases, portfolio of the use cases, if the use case is applicable, if the use case is good. And that was the time of POC and MVP, where like, again, looking to the statistics, that looked like the market is ready. There's a lot of interest. There seems to be the problems which blockchain solutions can solve. There's a demand, there's a willingness to spend those money which are available for blockchain projects. But then look at the statistics. Out of 10 of thousands proof of concepts or like projects, only 8% survive to production. What's wrong with that? I mean, that's terribly low rate. And that's make me think about that. It's made me like look at all those POCs on all those deals. And I've been working in many companies. I was involved in a lot of like POC design. At the same time, I was involved in bringing the real projects to the production. And yeah, that's why, like I already said, I'm Sasha Pitkevich, and that's why I'm here, because I brought like more than 5 projects, big projects, to the production. And then I did the tens of POCs which never made that. And that was always, you know, concluded to be successful. Like, you know, I never seen unsuccessful blockchain POC. That's always successful. The concept is proven, but then suddenly the project is closed. And that's why we are talking about that today, to see what we can do or how to choose a deal which will come live, which will bring value to the market, because that's in the heart of every person. I mean, when you do something, you don't want what you have done to be thrown away or to put on a shelf forever. You want that shiny be live and save this world. So, well, for the ease of understanding, I prefer to distinguish between 2 major types of blockchain projects. And I'm not saying that they're totally different. No, it's just easy to think when we first, when we distinguish between them. And when I say public blockchain, it means the whole stack of the decentralized solutions where participation is not regulated. Everyone can join, like the majority of the crypto networks. And private or consortia projects, they vice versa require certain registration procedure. Any contract signature, board approval to become a part of the network and participate in the transaction processing. typically enterprise organizations use this private model to have in-house solutions, or they're joining or they're shaping consortia. And being involved in several such like consortia type of the projects, I noticed a lot of similarities. All of them prefer to start with the selected functionality and build MVP or POC. All of them needed this justification that the new technology can deliver. And in some cases, there were even several POCs, one after another. And most of the POCs done for enterprise domain, they're technical. They're focused on technology applicability and maturity. They're proving that the network is able to process certain amount of the transactions where we frequently don't understand what those transactions are and what's the real transaction data, and where we frequently do not understand who is transacting. We rarely have real users involved in those POCs, and almost never we have strong product vision or clear business case. And looking back to the project which went live successfully and recollecting the amount of work we needed to complete in order to bring it live, well, I must share that the main lesson learned was, at the end, it was not a technical project, not at all. It had some technology components, but the majority of time and effort spent and the challenges we met were somewhere else. Let's look what we actually do. And you can see that on the screen now. Again, here, for the sake of better result, I've tried to put those activities in a logical order. In reality, the majority of the projects I did were not so good in ordering. It was like slightly, I would say, different. Basically, what needs to be done to bring a project live? First of all, you need to define the business model. You need to explain yourself and all the stakeholders how it's going to earn money and on what money that will exist. Then you will need to define what would be the network, who will participate, what are levels of the participation, what is demanded from the participation. And then you have to describe that in a sort of set of like standards and rules, and like and the crypto economy comes on that structure, like fee structure, crypto economy. It needs to be defined to back the participation in your network. Then you actually need to advertise your network among the potential participants. And then you need the buy-in from them to participate. And then when you onboard them or start onboarding them, you need to understand what you are capable of. Because not all the networks, and we will speak about that later, not all the networks have the equal participation. In some cases, they're part of the food chain, part of the network, and they're doing different roles. And you need to have them in a network, and you might be failing to sell it to them. And then only when your network is kind of complete in understanding and in the design, you need to create actual product and services on that. And then you can run solution, you can build and run solution and come live. And basically, yeah, as you can see, the technical implementation goes at a very last stage, or it can be divided. It can be like slow and back, but it cannot survive without business support. And well, let's look a little bit in the practical aspects, because like I said, what needs to be done for the majority of you, that would be, but how? And yeah, let's start from the definition of the business network, from the understanding what your network would be. And well, the networks have a tendency to shape either around business topics, either technology topics. And when we're speaking about like the business focused consortia, that's the companies who are being together with a similar future vision and for the certain industry normally. And where they feel that the blockchain technology is enabler. They tend to have like narrow focus on one or set of the use cases, and they are normally in a small membership. And within the business type of the consortia, we can also see like three different network organizations. One and most decentralized one is cooperation, where competitor companies are brought together, like they're from the same industry, to collaborate on a new business model of the future. They normally invest in joint organization, and then they focus in investing to build a solution. And here the good examples can be where the semiconductor companies are jointly creating a decentralized solution to basically to watch the taxonomy, to watch the parts they're using, because like they are the hell of the providers. They they collectively combine the information about the parts they're using in their schemas, and they're willing to share, because for them that's saving a lot of money of knowing at the drop of the quality in advance. The same for insurance companies who are obliged to collect the information about the healthcare service providers, and every insurance company by itself have to basically get all the detailed data about the healthcare provisioning. And yeah, they're using the same providers. That's like, I mean, if three companies are joining efforts, that's 1/3 of effort spent and 2/3 are saved. Like that's like great savings for them. Then the second type of the organization within business business type of consortia is minimum viable ecosystem consortia. And that brings together a number of members necessary to create the certain process, like to participate in a certain process, or creating the solution to facilitate a certain process. You can think about a supply chain where the different members, where the logistic partners, where the insurers are, where like the producers, the farmers, and like for the transparency of the complete supply chain, you need all the parts of the ecosystem. And that's normally starts with the use case, which goes through the whole process, and where each company takes some part, and basically, and then like the core part, like it starts with the shaping core, like foundation members, which are absolutely necessary to run the process. And then they're trying to expand that and sell the services to others. So we do have foundation partners and the member partners. And then the last and probably less decentralized solution is where the market leader, using this market influence, creates the network and then sells that for the industry. That's normally it's normally done to achieve the new business values, the new services, and basically the market leader gets the most benefits of that. And when we look to the technology-focused consortia, it pools resources to develop normally protocols and platforms to expand the frontier of the possible technology applications. They normally tend to have the larger membership base and larger resources. And they trying to set the standards for data exchange, and they normally attract technical talents. You can think about Hyperledger, you can think about R3. Those are the typical technology-shaped consortiums. Then, while we understand how a network can be organized, we would better understand the next topic. And the next topic is, okay, we identified the structure of the network. What would be the collaboration model of the partners? Well, it was said many times that the most important decentralized solution quality is ability to adapt to changing circumstances. So to say in simple language, the efficiency of the collective work is vital for the consortium existence. And here comes widely used term governance. What is it? The term governance has developed different connotations for different projects and settings. And first, helpful to understand the difference between governance and operational rules. Most founding teams focus their time on developing the operational rules to their projects. These are the rules for managing the day-to-day activities on a platform. Processes and parameters such as contracts, markets, token design, information system, and all parts of the operational rules. Governance is distinct from operations. It's the process by which the consortia makes decisions but aren't specified by its operational rules and enact updates to operational rules based on the changes in environment of goals of the platform. Governance allow platform to adapt and survive in the presence of unexpected events. If operational rules are the black and whites, the governance is the gray. There are key considerations that every blockchain-enabled solution should keep in mind as they design the platform and the communities. Governance is more than voting. A well-designed governance system considers more than just a voting mechanism. It also includes how the system proposes upgrades, how the system converges on decisions, how those proposals and decisions are presented to the community, how the potential impact of the proposed upgrades is measured, and how the elected changes are implemented. The best approach to each element of the design begins with identifying the types of the decisions to be made and the stakeholders to be included. When properly designed, each component of the effective governance system should work in harmony to support collective decision making. And guys, that's the key. Like the common challenge in building decentralized protocols and applications is the common questions which everybody asks: is it possible to design and implement operational rules that are so perfect that governance is not longer necessary? Because it's normally perceived as the most complex part of the design. And because of the concept called contractual incompleteness, unfortunately, the answer is no. You always need governance. All contracts are inherently incomplete. No matter how carefully a contract designed and implemented, there will always be unanticipated circumstances that change stakeholders' desired or resulting outcomes. In this instance, the contract must not specify what's supposed to happen, or participants might want to negotiate the contract in light of the new events. Because of contractual incompleteness, there will always be scenarios that operational rules don't address, for which the system needs to adapt and thereby refer to its governance design on how to proceed. This is where governance is essential and why it will always be necessary. By definition, governance is the process by which a system organizes and updates over the time. In the blockchain industry, it also serves as an indication to stakeholders of what they can expect of the operational rules to come, what decisions will be voted on, who will be at the table, what process is there for evaluating outcomes, how are new proposals added to the agenda, how is information shared with voters and the community. So all those aspects, you need to work on that to become a success, to be able to agree with your network participants. And then speaking about the consortia, a private-based solutions, the whole idea is to start small with players that would both benefit through engaging in a conception and creation of the ecosystem and be able to influence their peers to join later. So small, make it perfect, then grow. Companies that take a leadership role in a consortium will have the principal funding and control considerations, including intellectual property ownership. They would also have considerable influence over shared service development, where cost and benefits are mutualized among participants, and they could expand the base of the commercial gain. Regardless of the model selected, when determining the number of the participants for the blockchain, the imperative is once again to start small, do it well, and attract the other potential participants. Well, there are quite clearly expressed desires and requirements for the potential community. There are a lot of results you can see on the screen, and that was, I think, Deloitte, who was asking a number of companies what consortium about their criteria to join the consortia. And instead of going here one by one, we can briefly look at that and see that the majority of the criteria that speaks about how, like if we will think of how those requirements are achievable, we will see that those are the product qualities, they are product features of the solution. And well, guess what? When you need the strong product features in a well-defined product, you'd better have a good product manager role, and like you easily started to understand that in your consortia, the definition of the product is a key, and definitely product manager plays a key role there. And the well-designed product, in wide definition, not only functionally, the majority of the requirements on the previous screen, they were non-functional. They were product qualities, like a non-functional product qualities. And basically, what we're speaking about the scalability, maintainability, adaptability. It's the good way towards success. And then let's quickly go over the factors promoting the success and preventing that. While you're reading the short summary of the success factors, that's beautifully phrased by one of the B3I consortia board members. I'm not going to read that, but it's really beautifully phrased. I will speculate on attributes preventing the success. And there are some of them we cannot do much. Bad reputation of blockchain at all. It has a bad reputation. The majority of the companies think that the blockchain, like crypto, is for criminals, and the blockchain is always associated with crypto. So they say, okay, volatility and criminals, they are two mottos for any blockchain solution, and you need to fight it from the very beginning. Complex to understand. Why you cannot solve that? You can teach, but it still will be complex. Lack of regulations, also not your deal. So the only one which you can actually affect is lack of cooperation. And everything which I said up till that point was about that. You need to focus on that. You need to focus on adaptability and ability to cooperate. And if now we'll move to the public solutions, and let's look to the public world, because I guess I said enough for the private and enterprise space. Then, first of all, speaking about public blockchain solutions, it's also necessary to remember that they're different. As we have three-layered architecture for the blockchain, we have applications on every of each layer. First of all, we have the foundation. We have the basic networks where which you already know, like Cosmos, Near, IOTA, Tezos, obviously Bitcoin, obviously Ethereum. So they provide you the basic functionality basis for your network, basic currency. There are always layer 2 projects. All those tokens, NFTs, DeFi projects, they are part of this group. And there's an end user level where you have the whole variety of the dApps and wallets, which are actually interacting with the users and with the level 2. And the solution we are trying to design, it's not necessarily covering one layer. It can it can cover a combination of layers. And then when this basic understanding is here, we are moving forward. And I must say that in a house of constantly emerging blockchain projects, the only way to survive and succeed is to come up with the well-planned and technically flawless solution. So let's look at the examples and the practical steps which we usually undertake along the solution development. Well, according to the cryptocurrency metrics tracker, the usual coin market cap, there are more than 9,000 digital currencies currently traded and available of exchange across the world. The relative merit of most of these projects is to determine in part by their market value. The higher the market capitalization, the more valuable the project is perceived to be. But is that the only characteristics? Are we only looking to like market value here? And let's we will speak about those qualities a little bit later, but let's go quickly through the same steps you need to go to design your public project. And first of all, here we are starting with the purpose, with the vision, with the white paper. Then we are trying to gather the support, and we say community support, business support, something which will buy on this initial white paper. Then we will come to the certain budget definition, and we will know what we need. And gathering the initial budget, we will be able to combine the development team and create the MVP. Probably very simple, very small, but working. And then with the back of this MVP and a solid team, we would be able to grow the community around that, establish governance, and then obtain the bigger funding, IPO, and then to strive for the mass adoption. And as I already said, we are judged in the public projects in a majority on the market capitalization, but also on the strength of your development team, on the community. For any startup or new project, gathering a base of active users or followers is essential for the effective marketing strategy. Community building has become particularly imperative within the blockchain and cryptocurrency sector. Those supporters are digital natives, and they form global tribes around their favorite tokens, platforms, and exchanges. However, in today's crowded crypto marketplace, building a loyal community means more than merely growing your Twitter following. After all, the lifespan of the typical tweet is a matter of minutes, which explains why crypto crowds tends to gather on other platforms such as Telegram or Reddit or like for more meaningful conversation. Well, nevertheless, many projects have taken to more innovative ways of building their profile amongst the blockchain community beyond the boundaries of social media. Here are 3 examples of ways to create a more lasting, positive impression to inspire a long-term crowd of followers for your project to start up. For example, hold a hackathon, help to educate newcomers, gamification, partnering with other projects, because for public solutions is key to start big, to gather as much supporters and followers as possible, because first, they fund you, second, they improve your technology, and the third, they bring new ideas. The power of strong community in scaling blockchain-based projects should not be understated. Just imagine the new token launches, people get excited and they're financially motivated for the adoptions. So they join Telegram, Discord, or whenever people are talking about the project. They participate, share exciting news, refer friends, and promote it publicly. But they are not deeply engaged. And they're often just looking to promote their own applications or for the short money. They're not developing relations with each other, and they're definitely not loyal to the community. Their short-term perspective and financial motivation connection to the project is weak, And then another token comes around and they're chiefly moving to the new shiny object. And here, like as you can see, the role of the community manager comes into the picture. And a community without a vision lacks a destination. A community without values has no compass. And both will leave you lost. And it's quite naive to think that the community will organize itself. Well, finally, the concluding remark here for like public solutions would be that creation of the powerful online community has the same importance when compared with the technology and marketing strategy. In fact, the community would be the platform that would hold those two connected. So there are many risks in building public blockchain projects. Some we can mitigate, for others we need to monitor and adapt. Concentrating on the success factors, I must say that the really successful public blockchain projects have them all. Clear and engaging vision, ability to agree with each other, effectively collaborating, skilled and motivated development team, and good economy. I cannot say that one of these aspects is more important than others. And I also say that, I mean, when I'm looking to the public projects and when I'm evaluating for which one I believe more or less, I'm evaluating all those aspects. And the vision defines the scope, objectives, and inspirational aspects of the project. In the blockchain sector, the vision of the project would fully answer the following questions. What kind of markets is the project going to challenge? What kind of problems does it solve? How does it compare with incumbents and competitors? What kind of economic benefits are there for the occasional users? What kind of economic benefits are there for the token holders? How does it relate to other blockchain technologies? How does the overall business work? These questions would be better addressed in a business model. Remember the set of the stages we defined for the public project. This all needs to be done. And to conclude the answer on the question, what are the attributes which can increase the probability of your project surviving proof of concept or MVP stage? We'd say first, it's clear vision, goals, and definition. Strong team and engaged network foundation. Crypto economy. And most important, the established way to control the challenge, allowing your consortium or community to come to an agreement. So none of it actually lays in the technology domain. I hope this story makes you think about your project scope and make sure you have strong product community manager. And you either have to work on mechanisms to collaborate and communicate efficiently, not only operational procedures, but also through governance. And I believe I'm at the end of my speech and I can answer the questions now. Dmitry, do we have questions?
Yes. So basically, we have two questions at the moment. I believe the most relevant one as for now is what about the budget? What is the budget for small blockchain projects might be? Could you maybe estimate based on your experience?
Small, what's small? I mean, it's difficult. I would speculate now on a question because it really depends of what you mean small. And I was speaking about a public one. I was speaking about the enterprise one because the typical enterprise POC, and that's like POC, not go into production. It's normally between 30, 50K. And that's goes around 1 or 2 use cases, well-defined. No, it's usual co-creation together with the owner of the business itself. They normally hire an implementation partner because of the speed and because of the high knowledge entrance to the technology. But that's for enterprise. And then, again, guys, we're speaking beyond POC. And between those 50K, I would say that the real go live will make at least 3 times more, at least. normally that's more, because you will need to go through all these marketing activities. Like, I mean, go back to the enterprise solutions. You will need to understand your network to build this business network. I mean, advertise and bring the participants, members, and you will need to spend time of defining the cooperational model with them. And you will need I mean, the more companies you have, the more bureaucratic burden you have. All the legal verifications, all the adaptations for the particular architecture principles, operations, because yeah, you build a shared solution. You all know how complex that to build like the IT solution within one company. And then you are building the one IT solution by several companies who have to agree first on architecture principles, then to the protocols and data exchanges and integrations, because every company will need to connect that to their backend. And then legal, contractual rules, and all the ways like operations, how the bunch of companies are going to maintain this solution altogether. That will cost money. All those agreements, all this non-technical business work. And if you're not able to do that yourself, you probably will invite quite expensive consulting work. And those guys, like, I wouldn't say that it's necessary. It normally saves time and effort, means money in this case, but you must choose the partner wisely, basically to someone who went for this way and know how to do so. If we're speaking about the public solutions, because yeah, I'm trying to cover both worlds, the entrance is cheaper because you can have like 2-3 developers, month of work, and you have technical solution. But remember, public solutions comes with idea. Having no idea, it's useless to create the technical one. I mean, you have to have an idea. And then the technology behind this idea, usually relatively simple. And then you will need to sell this idea. And for public projects, the majority of the efforts would be community build, find the supporters, find your network, because that's the only way to fund it. And to sell that if you are looking for the investors. I mean, either you are applying for the crowdfunding, either you are looking for the investors. And that's all. Distilling the idea to making it attractive and find those who will buy for that and maintain those so they will stay with you and will support your public solution growth.
Understood. And I believe we have some time left for the second question. I'll try to reformulate it as much as possible. Nevertheless, are there any products that EPAM develops or sells to the market that you would like to promote and maybe describe some basic use cases for them?
We do. We actually do have products. It's not related to the topic which I'm speaking right now, but we normally like the products we have, they normally associated with the implementation effort. We do have open WASP implementation, and those are the solution, and that's actually open source solution. You can go and download the code. We are providing the implementation services there. We've created the product, we pushed it for the market because we honestly believe that it's absolutely necessary to any traditional financial organization to operate in a crypto world. I mean, to do the crypto transaction, like operating, like transacting virtual assets, how it's said, becoming the virtual asset service provider, WASP, you need, in the majority of the countries, you need to comply with the FATF travel rule. And that's, well, in a nutshell, that's the anti-money laundering. You have to identify a originator and a beneficiary of the transaction. And you have to pass this information to the transaction. And basically, you have to have an answer who transact and to whom, where you would be asked. And you know that the majority of the public crypto networks don't do that. It's anonymous or pseudonymous. And you not necessarily keep an address, individuals, you don't have this. So we participate in an open WASP consortia and we implemented a Java stack which actually provides you this possibility. And at the same time, the beauty of the solution is it does not spoil the anonymity. I mean, for WASP, that stores the originator and the beneficiary, but that transacted not within the original, for example, Ether transaction. No, it goes in parallel, connected, and normally using the total dark protocol. We have implementation Whisper, we have implementation status, which means that WASPs would know, but no one in the Ethereum network itself would not. So, okay, that's compromise, but that's not totally spoiling the anonymity. Another product we have, it's the Ripplebox Connect. And yesterday we had a wonderful presentation where it was shown how does it work, how does it connect financial organization to the Ripple network, how does it transact, how simple is that? That's another product we do. We also have our partner Sigma Ledger, which is a supply network, like supply chain network and coupon processing. And with Sigma Ledger, that's another product. And when you are in a retail space and you need to fight the coupon fraud or counterfeiting, that's the product for you, actually. And last but not least, we have CryptoCortex. We have the wonderful solution for the brokers, for market makers, for buy-side traders, for the exchanges, and that's the matching engine. That's a transaction database. That's like all the components you need in a food chain. But you can use them all together, or you can also use that piece by piece. And yeah, there are quite some of the exchanges in the world are using the pieces of our CryptoCortex solution.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, I believe we are running out of time. I would like to thank you, Sasha. Thanks to all participants, to your questions. Enjoy the last hours of the conference and see you on chain. See you next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.